Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to open up this rear differential and we're going to see just what failed, and we're going to see if we can tell why it failed, because sometimes parts will tell a story, and if you're a mechanic, you know how to read that story and you can pretty much piece together how it went down. Can't prove it, but you can piece it together and got a general idea. So, without further ado, let's get started. But you're going to want to tear this diff down. You're going to want a T50. You're going to want a 12mm socket. You're going to want a 14mm socket. Let's just get started. I don't know what we got to do when we're inside. And I highly, highly, highly recommend these gloves. So, without further ado, let's drain it, and then I'll bring you guys in closer, and we'll get a good look. Wow, is that tight. I cannot believe how tight these things get. And it's really weird because I change my fluid very often. Like every couple of 100 miles. I change it out because it doesn't cost hardly anything to keep it clean. Wow. Wow. There we go. Jeez, these stupid things. Now there's going to be a copper washer on here. We want to keep the dirt clean. Now, we're not too worried about cleaning this thing because it's going to get gutted and it's going to get cleaned all up inside and out. So it's not like I'm rebuilding this thing the way it sits. Look at that. Just like I told you, I keep clean fluid in there. Look at that fluid. Look how clean that is. Isn't that something? I wonder what them chunks are. I'm not going to go digging yet. Maybe at the end of the video, I'll go digging. That's good. That's good enough. But there was definitely some chunks. I bet it was bearing. What do you guys want to bet on it? It was bearing. You guys should always label your bolts. Me, I've been doing this all my life. I can pretty much look at a bolt and I know where it's got to go. So without further ado, let's see if we can get this cover off. I have a feeling this cover's going to fight with us. Give it a good couple taps. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to inspect this race here. This race actually looks brand new. There's no pitting, there's no scarring, there's nothing. This race is actually brand new looking, but it will get replaced for the simple fact that we're in here. So we're gonna set that aside. Now the real problem is right in here. Let's get this ring gear off here. Man, oh man. Let's inspect this bearing here. This bearing is actually toast. There's too much play in this bearing. Way too much play. The race looked good, but this bearing, it's junk. And there's a shim. We don't want to lose a shim. This bearing's toasted, so that bearing's gone. Put that in there, like so. There's another shim. So this must be where they shimmed it. Can't lose those shims. Wow. It's loss of bearing right there. That's bearing failure. Bring you guys in. Look at all that. Bearing failure. That's what that is. Okay guys, so we had to smack this thing out because it's all messed up. Look, it's all messed up, so I need a new one of these, which yeah, this bearing is actually surprisingly fine. This is the one that went in the back side of the pinion. So that's the failure point right there. And I was looking at this gear, and I'm going to tell you why it failed. Because I was looking at this gear and this one. They didn't have it shimmed properly. It was shimmed too tight. You can see where the groove marks are. I don't know if you can see that on camera. See them groove marks? That means these gears were too tight and they were digging into each other. That's the failure of this diff. So it wasn't nothing that I did. It was the dealer, something that the dealer did when they rebuilt it, which, you know, the funny part is, I took it back to them and told them that it sounded like it was too tight. They told me I was crazy. Then they checked the temperature on it and said it was way too hot, and they wanted to rip it apart. They ripped it apart and they said it was too tight, so they pulled out a shim. But I guarantee you, they didn't mesh these gears the proper way. So we're going to have to find a rebuild kit. We know we need all new bearings. We need a new shim kit. We need a new pinion, which now that I have this pinion out and this gear, maybe I can find some aftermarket stuff. I don't know. But this case is chewed up. I can fix that. This is not important. This does not matter here. I can smooth this out with my Dremel. That'll be fine. Technically, if I have to, I could clean this up too. But I'd rather get a new one because of all the damage that this pinion done. This pinion was eating it all over, eating it. So I'd rather get new ones there. Can you guys see, is the camera picking that up? Let me find a tooth. There we go. You can see it better on this tooth right here, where that pinion was digging into there for a long period of time. So that's what took out this bearing here. This pinion being shimmed way too tight, that took that out. Yeah, guys, that is that. Alright guys, I want to thank you guys for stopping in and watching this teardown so we could see what failed and why we think it failed. Just judging by the groove marks and all the teeth all the way around, you can tell that they were wearing for a long time that way. So that's a good indicator that they were too tight. And you got to know where the wear marks should be. The wear marks should be dead in the center of these gears in a specific pattern. I can maybe show you on the screen here. That way you get an understanding. And when you look at them, they were never wearing like that, which indicates they were too tight by the indication of the pattern of the scoring marks. So they were definitely too tight. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and it's going to be a long time before I can have the money to go back together with this thing. It needs more than I anticipated. It needs this piece. It needs all the bearings, shims, pinion, ring gear. It needs all that stuff. So it needs a couple of new bolts. It's going to be a minute. So we're going to have to just sit back and hang tight, because once I get all the stuff to rebuild it, I'm going to clean the case all like brand new. We're going to rebuild it. And then we're going to ship it out to a company that's going to treat these parts and bulletproof them. So definitely give me a thumbs up, guys. Leave me a comment. That helps the channel grow. And if anybody's feeling generous to donate some parts, I'd be really, really, really happy. So we could get more videos out of this and show you guys how to properly rebuild a rear differential. And that'd be awesome. So if anybody wants to donate anything, just hit me up on Facebook, my email. Everything's listed down below under this video. So, alright guys, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out and God bless.